What's up, everybody? It's your boy. I'm BT. This is my podcast, The Real Begins, where truth hits harder than fiction. On the last episode, we talked about how the signs of your kid is selling drugs, and I briefly touched on what I was doing and how I started. Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about how I started. Let's get into it. Okay, on South 110th Street, there's a church I was going to. I was coming from church one day, and this guy named Jeff, we're not gonna say his last name. He stopped me. He said, "Hey, what's up, church boy? You want to make some money?" And me, I was already curious from looking out the window. I used to look out the window every day. Remember, I told y'all that in the first episode. I used to look out the window every day and just be amazed and mesmerized. See, so it didn't take much to get me. It didn't take much because I was looking and looking. And for years, I praised Jeff. I was like, yo, Jeff put me on. I got to make him proud. I got to follow the rules. I got to hustle to my heart content. I got to get this money. He showed me the way. But it wasn't until recently, I think 2025, I got a call that said Jeff had died. He had passed away from COVID. Now, when I got that message, believe it or not, I was heartbroken. I felt like a part of me had left. I was like, wow, the guy that put me on, the guy that got me off the porch. Off the porch means when you first started hustling or running the streets. I actually started running the streets at 14, but hustling I was off the porch at about 15. So when he died and I found out about it, it just felt like a part of me had just left. I was already like, man, this is crazy. I'm like, I know I'm done now. So let me get back to the story. So I'm walking one day. I think I was coming from church. He was like, hey, church boy, want to make some money? So I was like, yeah, sure. What's up? What I got to do? He was like, you ain't got to do much. All you got to do is sit on your porch. Now, I wasn't living in the building anymore. I used to live in the third floor on a 3-story building. We moved to the back of the building, out on the house in the back of the building. So I sat on the porch. Did I start that day? I think I started that same day. I sat on the porch, held the work, or I hid the work in the hallway, or I hid the work under a brick, or I hid the work in the alleyway, and he ran the sales. I made 530 minutes. I made 1,000 in an hour. I made 2,000 in 2 hours. Now here's the catch to that. Once I made the 2,000, 1,500 was his, 500 was mine. And see, I was always a smart kid. I was already thinking like, dang, I made 2,000 and gave him 15 and I only kept 5. I was already thinking, I'm gonna just do this for a little bit, just enough to get my name out there, and I'm gonna be out there on my own. See how advanced I was as a kid? And it's wrong. So I made about $500 that first day. Then the next day, then the next day, then the next day. I felt a sense of purpose that was unbelievable. It was a high without me getting high, making that money. When I went in my place or my house or my mom's house, my dad's house, later that day, excuse me, dropped the remote. Later that day, I went upstairs and counted that money. Later that week, I counted that money. I had about $2,000, then $2,500, then $3,500. But this the thing, y'all. I didn't know the rules. Jeff was beating me. So as I started learning the rules, I learned what you get off a G-Pack, meaning 1,000 bottles. You either get 1,000 bottles at $5 each. You sell them $5 each, and you get and the clip holds 10, meaning it's 10 bottles with a rubber band on it. You get $5 off of each clip. They get 45, you get 5, and it's 1,000 in a pack or 500 in the pack, depending. And if it's a 10, some people had G packs as dimes, and you get 10 off of each one of those. Being as though we was using bottles called SS25, which is slim, or you can use GP30s, which is wide. People from Newark, New Jersey, or anybody that use bottles know what I'm talking about when I said SS25s, SS20, Slim, Illusion bottles, whatever. But anyway, my boy Damien, he's dead now, rest his soul. He came to me and he said, Damien was from 11th Street, South Jack. That's where he lived with his grandmother. He said, yo, old boy beating you, man. You make it hit him 2,000. He owe you, he showed me the math. Jeff owed me $2,000. So I went to him and I said, hey, man, you owe me 2,000. And when he realized that I knew what he was doing, he said, I got you. I'm going to give you the money. I got you. I'm going to give you the money. So me feeling a sense of loyalty, I let it go. I'm still hustling. I'm still in school, but I don't care about school. And it's crazy because I love school. I was getting good grades. I was smart. My aunt used to always tell me, stop dumbing yourself down so people won't know you smart. Let me tell you what I used to do, y'all. I'm a reader. To this day, I read. I read a lot of books. I used to watch the Animal Planet, the Discovery Planet, documentaries, read books like The Art of War, Shakespeare, all these books that a kid wouldn't normally read. And my aunt told me one day, she said, I noticed that you have missed some questions on a test, or you have missed something to get a B instead of A, just so your friends will know how smart you is. Never dumb yourself down for no one. And that stuck with me. So I'm going to school, but while I'm in school, I can't concentrate. I'm in school, I'm thinking about how much money I'm gonna make when I get out of school, what I'm gonna do. And so I go to West Side High at the time. I'm in high school. I'm about 15. I'm in high school going to West Side High, the same school that Shaquille O'Neal went to. Shaquille O'Neal was probably about, when I got to the 9th grade, he was probably in the 12th or he was already graduating out. Because I got skipped to high school. I was in 13th Dan, but being as though I told y'all I was smart, I got skipped. And I believe later on my brother got skipped too. I think he skipped from the 8th to the 9th, or the 7th to the 9th, and I skipped from the 8th to the 9th. When I went to the 8th, they wanted to skip me in the 7th. But anyway, I went to West Side High and I'm in school. I'm doing my work, passing my SATs, doing good on my work. I leave school. I'm walking down the block. I gotta get that pack. I go in the house. My mom said, you got no homework? No, I don't got no homework. But let me tell you another thing. This is how smart I was. I used to do all my homework in school. I knew all the work. I used to do all my work in school. Then I come home. Don't have no work, so I can hit the block. So I go outside, sit on the porch. If my mom come outside, I get people to look like they know not to approach me. Or I shake my head or give them a head. Now they know not to approach me. Beside the steps where I used to hustle at, it was loose bricks. Because if you know anything about Newark, they call it the Brick City. So that means under certain streets, or on the most of the streets, under the pavement, under the tar, it's bricks. The streets used to be made out of bricks. So there was a lot of loose, exposed bricks in the city. So what I used to do is, I find a loose brick, put my drugs under there, my work, or whatever you want to call it. And for Jeff, I was selling powder cocaine. I was selling them bottles. I was selling nickels, sometimes dimes. So I'm selling that and I'm selling that. And if y'all see me keep looking down, because I'm looking at my notes. Now, I felt like I didn't need notes because I noticed that I lived it, but I took them to have a smoother podcast. So I'm getting out of school every day. Every day I'm making money. I'm asking Jeff about that 2,000. Hey, what's up with that 2,000? Because now I'm getting my correct money because I know what I'm supposed to be getting. And he kept saying, I'm going to give you the 2, I'm going to give you the 2. So he didn't give it to me. So I came up with my own mission. My first mission was, I'm going to stack enough money, being as though, so I can go get me an ounce or 2 myself, and I'm going to start working for Jeff. I had been out there already long enough. It's like street rules. You be outside on the block, somebody bring you on the block. If you stop hustling for them, you hustle for somebody else, or if you don't, you part of the block now. You've been out there, the block seen you, so you can hustle yourself now. So my mission was to get, ounces was in New York at the time, 500 to 750, something like that an ounce. That's 28 grams. I said, I'm gonna hustle with enough money to get my own ounces. So I got up about $2,000. I have people still coming by the house telling their little arcade tale. Remember I told y'all in the last video, I had Art telling my mom that I work at the arcade. Now this is crazy. It just so happened they put an arcade on South Orange Ave at the time, right by the pizza parlor on 11th Street. So it was in the middle of 11th and 10th. So I used to really go in the arcade and play. But so I act like that I worked it there. My mom never checked to see if I worked there. I don't know why. But anyway, so I'm in the arcade. I'm hustling out the arcade. I'm doing my thing. But remember now, I'm new to the game, so I don't know. So one day this guy knocks on my door, and I go downstairs like, who knocking on my door? They know not to knock on the door for no work. Mom Duke's up in the crib, and it's this old head stick up kid. We'll call him Wally. I'm not gonna say his whole attribute. You know who he is. Named Wally. He knocks on the door, and I'm like, yo, what's up? And I had at the time I had coke for Jeff, and I had heroin for Art. He knocked on the door, yo, Art told me to come and get a bag from you, yo. Now me, I'm new to the game. I'm naive. So I gave him the bag. Later on, I see Art like, yo, Wally came by the house. Man, I ain't tell you to give him nothing. He went off on me. So I owed it that. I had to pay him. So I made up my mind. I paid him out of my coach money. Paid him and I ain't hustle for him no more. But he went and stepped to Wally and whatever happened with that. But anyway, I was new to the game. I didn't know the little tricks. People would trick you. People would come to you. I even had a situation. I don't want to say his name. We'll just call him Cam. He came to me when he was trying to rob me. I never forget. I was standing in the church, in the back of the church door, and I was looking out the back door, and I seen him knocking on my door. I seen him turn the knob. I guess we didn't lock the door or something. He went in, searched the hallway, looking, and he ain't seen that. He came out. Then I guess he seen me at the time looking at him, and I said, yeah. After that, I knew I couldn't keep nothing in the house, y'all. So I said, I got to step my game up. I got to get a pistol. So I went, talked to my man, Damien. He's dead now. God rest his soul. He got killed over his platinum jewelry. That's another story I get to. My man Damien helped me get a nickel-plated 380. A nickel-plated 380, which is basically like a 9, but it's a 380 garbage gun. Gun, you shoot it, fall apart. The spring didn't work. All type of stuff. So I felt some type of way. Wally got me for the bag of heroin. I owed it Art. I paid him. Then Cam trying to come into the crib, steal my stash. So I was on one that day. So I seen Jeff coming down the street. Like, yo, let me holler at you for a minute. We're on the corner of 10th and what's that? 10th and 14th Ave, I think. 10th, 14th Ave. Yeah, he at the corner of these apartments. I'm like, yo, what's up with my money? Yo, I got you. Yo, I'm gonna give you your money. I immediately drew down on him. He was like, yo, what are you doing? I drew down on him. I rushed him. I tried to hit him with the gun. When I hit him with the gun fell apart. He fell off the porch. He looked at me. He looked at the gun like, really? But Jeff is such a good dude that even though he was beating me and he wasn't a fighter, I learned that later on because people was trying to take advantage of him. And I never talk bad about Jeff because he put me on. So later on, he came to me. He gave me a couple of dollars. He didn't give me $2,000. He would not get that $2,000 up. He gave me like $500. We made peace, and that was that. Me and him was cool. So rest in peace to my boy Jeff. You was love. You taught me a lot, even though it was wrong, and I felt some sense of belonging. I felt some sense of pride when you put me on. But rest in peace, and shout out to his brother Sean. So now that I'm in the game a little bit, I'm on my own now. I got this thing, pay me or get hurt. I'm gonna be either a sheep or a wolf. I told myself that. I'm gonna be a wolf. I'm gonna be aggressive. I'm not taking no tolerance. I got linked up with my boy Damon. Went to his house one day. Like, Damon, yo, you gotta teach me, man. So Damien said, I'm gonna take you uptown. Uptown meaning New York. So we go to 145th in Amsterdam. We hit the spot. And Damien in the spot showing me, he showed me how to get on the train, showed me how to get up there. So we up there, and the Spanish brothers, I think we was dealing with Dominicans at the time, the Dominican brothers, he told us to sit in the spot. So we sitting in the spot. Damien going through the cabinets, going through the house looking for stuff. I'm like, D, sit down. Don't go through these people's stuff. Nah, man, they don't know. They ain't looking. We did not know that they had cameras. They was watching us the whole time. And they also watched me when I said don't do it, and I sat down and didn't touch nothing. So the Dominicans came into the apartment. Now remember, this is my first 6 months in the game because I only hustled for Jeff probably 4 or 5 months. Then I got on my own at 6 months because I was never going to keep hustling for nobody. And in between hustling for him, I hustled for art. But I wanted to get on my own. So when Dominicans came in the spot, immediately drew down on us. Don't move. They jacked us up, took us to the roof. I never forget this. I wish Damien was alive to tell y'all this. They was gonna throw us both over the roof. They was gonna throw us over. But the main guy, he talked to me because I was calm. Damien was, yo, don't throw us over the roof. We ain't gonna do it. He was just yelling at him, going off, trying to fight, and I was calm. And the guy was like, we're gonna let y'all go. But y'all can't come back to New York no more. So we left New York, got back to the spot. And just to show you how wild and crazy Damien was, Damien was laughing. Now, how I met Damien is a whole nother story. Me and Damien got a whole history. That's a whole nother story. It's a story on how we met. It's a story on how we fell out, how we got back cool. That's a whole other story. We'll cover that though. We got plenty of time. It's the real begins. But Damien showed me how to get to New York, how to get back. And that started my journey into hustling. So I used to sit out there on Southmont Ave and 10th Street every day, hustling. I go across the street to the liquor store. Sometimes I walk to 9th Street in Southmont Ave. Sometimes I walk to 11th Street in Southmont Ave. But I always stayed in the vicinity. And I say that to say this. 15 years old, making $2,000 a day. I thought I was a man. How can parents compete with that? How can a job compete with that? Now later on, things slowed up a little bit, but I still was making $500 a day, $700 a day. It fluctuated. This was Southmont Ave was jumping. It was 30, 40 people outside. We had, you know what I'm saying? But it's going to be hard for parents to compete with that. And me, I was so smart. I used to save my money. So my mom and them never seen my money because I never bought nothing. I saved because I was saving it for a car, my own crib, because I was leaving. I said, I'm leaving. Thought I was a know-it-all. Remember I told y'all that? So parents can't compete against this mentality. That's why it's important for you to catch your kid in the beginning. And my mom and dad, they tried everything. They stopped me from going outside. They jumped in front of the door to prevent me. They told the judge at times when I got locked up at the youth house, keep them. They came to the block to get me, put me out, let me back in, all type of things. But see, the problem is, and I tell my mom this to this day, the problem is, no matter what they would have did, my mind was made up. Like when I wanted to steal cars, I stole them. When I wanted to sell drugs, I sold them. It was nothing they could have did was going to stop me. See, I was a good kid making the wrong decisions. I did not know or understand the consequences. And I hate to say this, but it's true. I ended up getting good at selling drugs. So when a person get good at something, it's going to be hard, very hard to tell that person no. Parents, look for the signs. Look for the signs. Your kid might be smart too. You might be saving that money. You might be burying it outside in the yard. You might be putting it in a can. You might be putting it in a mayo jar. You might be stashing it in his pillow. I had guns in the house. My mom caught me, put me out. I didn't care. You have to understand, this is a vicious cycle. The streets are a lie. The streets are a myth. Do you want to see your kid? Do you want to see him behind the bars where you can go see him 30 years? Ask yourself that. This is the Real Begins podcast where truth hits harder than fiction. I'm your host, BT. I thank you for listening in. If you like what you heard, subscribe, like the channel on YouTube, tell somebody that you think should hear it. If you think your child or teenager or young adult should hear it, or grown adult should hear it, tune in. If you're on Spotify or anywhere podcasts are at, like, follow. I'm gonna come up. I got more stories. I got more things. This ain't even the first year. The stories I done told y'all, it's the first few months of my journey. I want to deter kids from the streets. I want to deter young adults from the streets. I want them to stop. I want them to know what the truth is. I don't want them to have to stop 34 years later and then be woulda, coulda, shoulda. I could have did this. I could have did that. Because now I know I could have did all these things that I'm accomplishing now then. But my mind was immature. You understand? And even though I had a male role model in my life, even though I had my mom and my dad, I was hard-headed. Now I wish my dad would have just knocked me upside my head. Let's grow together. Join the channel, subscribe to the channel, and I'm going to give y'all these jewels. We're not glorifying anything. I just want to deter kids from the streets. I don't want them to mess up. And I have kids, and they're doing great, but probably because of the stories they heard about me. Thank you for tuning in. This is the Real Begin Podcast. Thank you for all your support.